Oh, yeah. Freak out. Yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, And this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future, yeah. And I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar. Yeah, the cream of the crop. Dig it?
49er Mind is it's not just a thought process, but a way of life. 49er Minded. 49er Minded. Can't shake it. It's 49er Mind that I got. It's 49er Shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session. About our red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions. Let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the spot? That's how it's been in the spot. Let's all that back, all that crack, all that strip, fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the storyline, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er Minded. It's not just a thought process, 49er Minded, but a way of life. For sure. 49er Minded. Way of life. 49er Minded.
How is everybody doing? Welcome to another edition of 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Really happy to see people on the chat. We delayed the start a little bit. We ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty that we did not expect, but we're here. We're live. Before we get started with my guests, let me just say what's up to some people who were waiting patiently. And we got, this is my boy from Twitter, Pule SF49ers LAL. What up, dude? How you doing? Says Go Niners. We got Roberto Playboy Loco, says Go Niners, baby. We have Niners Sickness from the Niners Sickness podcast. Check him out on YouTube. Subscribe to him. Says what's up to all the faithful. John V, another fellow YouTuber from the Locker Room Rants. Check out his YouTube page. Subscribe to them. Says let's fucking go, Bash. I dropped an F-bomb already. Here we go. What up, Corey? The sports fanatic from Twitter says what's good, Bash? Season is almost here. Yeah, preseason's here, man. Let's do this. David McNew is here. What is up? David McNew says, what's good, Bashar and Jay? And yeah, let me bring on our special guest, Jay in the Bay. Some of you guys might already know him from his channel. If you have not subscribed to him yet, hit up the description box of this video. I have all the links to subscribe to him. And let me just bring him on.
Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to be on with the best fans in the NFL, the Niner Empire. And that was a sick intro, 49er Minded. I love that intro, 49er Minded. And congratulations to you on reaching 30,000 views on your channel, man. And I think you're at 583 subs. So it's good to see you continuing to grow, man. Appreciate you having me on tonight.
Hey, I got to say this. What's good? I can't do it like you, man. You're the man. Later this show, we got something that pertains to what's good. You probably know where I'm going with that.
Absolutely.
The song on the intro, the new intro, is by 49er Dude. If you guys aren't aware of that, had him on my show multiple times. So yeah, great dude, awesome guy from Southern California. Done a lot of 49er hip hop songs. Shout out to the 49er hip hop community. I represent you guys because I love music. Love the Niners, and it's always great to have you guys on here. We got Brandon Ferreño from the Forever Faithful podcast. Says, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Go. Drop it.
What's good? How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, yeah, get used to the what's good, guys. It's good. That's what we do out here, man. Yeah, so how's this? Well, it was the off season. How's the whole training camp and preseason, all that treating you? Anything going on with you in that case?
I've been enjoying the preseason and training camp. I've been enjoying these joint practices with the Minnesota Vikings. I understand that a lot of the 49ers starters aren't going to be playing in this weekend's preseason game due to the joint practices. So it's good to see the 49ers, offensive players and defensive players go up against different players in practice. So that's always good to see, and it's good to see that we're dominating in some areas, and in other areas we need to work on. But man, it's been a hell of an off season. It's been, saying bye-bye to Jimmy G and trying to build a team around Trey Lance. So it's been great to see so far. I can't wait till week one.
Yeah, it's almost like this team has already had a head start because we built up this team over the years. You know, we have certain players who are Pro Bowl caliber. If they haven't made the Pro Bowl, they're borderline Pro Bowl players.
Right.
And then we do got some All Pro players as well. So to build that solid roster for Lance is great. One thing that we can better in terms of our team, obviously, is offensive line that we can talk about. There's some good and bad to go with the offensive line, of course. But yeah, it's just going to be an interesting, fun season. You know, obviously, we got this new change at the quarterback position. There's been a lot of emotional, heated, confrontational 49er conversations among 49er fans. That is more so than anything else, more so than other fan bases almost. And you know, so some people, you know, when they see a quarterback who's good, who's done some good for you, obviously, and the team has some success behind that quarterback, obviously Jimmy G. Sometimes there comes that emotional attachment. With me, I don't get too emotionally attached to players. I mean, for example, going a little off topic, but when Buckner took off, I really wasn't mad or angry like a lot of other Niner fans were. If you guys think that's weird or stupid, go right ahead and think that. I mean, I have no problem with it, but it's just I don't, you know, I know it's a business. We all have to realize the NFL is a business. When you got millions of dollars at stake, just think to yourself that these players that play for this team that we love and that we support through all these years may have, there's a good chance that they may not stick around for a 10-year career with this team. They may not stick around they may not get that second contract that locks them in for 7 or 8 years or something like that, you know. So with that said, you know, it's great that we do a great job. We do a great job in general with this team in terms of retaining our players. I mean, sure, we lost Buckner. We may lose some guys every now and then, but hey, we paid Debo. We pay, you know, we're gonna pay Bosa. We paid Trent Williams. We paid Kittle. You know, so I just see it as this. I mean, for the most part, compared to other teams, we do pay our good players. We retain our talent. We do a great job at replacing talent as well. So it just doesn't hurt me all that much in terms of this quarterback switch. I've been pro Trey Lance for a very, very long time, and I've supported Jimmy when he's been with the team. And obviously, I voiced my opinions when I was not impressed by what Jimmy's done, and I've voiced my opinions where I wanted to move on. I wanted to move on a bit sooner than other people did. But at the end of the day, I realized that Shanahan was going to stick with Jimmy for the whole season to try to get his trade value up. And since they had already started with him, they weren't going to do the quarterback switch, you know, towards the end of the season or mid-season like other fans wanted. But it is what it is, man. Sorry, I'm going on this little rant, but I felt like I just had to say a lot of this stuff because a lot of Niner fans just kind of do get attached and they don't want to move on from certain players to certain players. And sometimes when you do move, in many cases, when you do move on to the next player, it's best for the team.
No, there's no doubt about that. I'm not sure about you, but I'm hearing some feedback on my end. Do you hear that on your end?
I do not.
Okay,
I don't know if the crowd hears it. I don't know. Do you guys hear in the chat any feedback coming from me? I don't.
It might be on my end. I was just gonna say, let me leave the studio real quick and come back.
Yeah, do what you guys do, man.
Because for some reason there's feedback on my end. Let me leave real quick. I'll come right back.
Sure, man. In the meantime, let me just read some comments, or as Jay in the Base says, up in them comments. All right, so great to have you guys on, by the way, man. Playboy Loco 915 says, can't wait to be at the tailgate. We're going to get into that later, by the way. We're going to get into that a little bit later. And Jay in the Bay is back. Okay. What's good? We're good?
That's good. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better.
Okay, cool. I don't know if I guess it was you. I don't know if the crowd heard it because they didn't say nothing. Swan Song said we sounded fine. What's up, Swan Song? Shout out to him. Let me give a huge shout out to Swan Song because I don't know if you guys recognize him. Some of you guys may from Twitter, from Discord, and some of the YouTube channels, actually. He's been very active in the 49er chats and great guy. And obviously, if you guys missed it or if you guys watched it, the post-game show for the Green Bay Packers game, this past preseason game, I hit up Swan Song at the last minute to come on and jump on with me, and he did. And hey, he knocked it out of the park. He did a wonderful job, so shout out to him. Swan Song, great job co-hosting with me on the post-game show. We had a huge turnout. There was one point there was 38 people showing as live viewers. Usually there's 20 or 15. And just got a ton of views in general, and it was just a lot of fun. So shout out to Swan Song, good dude, man.
Absolutely. And before I left out, I was just going to say, I saw someone in the chat say that the Gray to Trey Lance connection is going to be sweet. I think it was Brandon who said that. And that's something that the 49ers haven't had, right? I mean, we haven't really had a wide receiver who can stretch the field. Marquise Goodwin did that, but we only saw really a small sample size. We never really saw someone do that. And it's great that we have Danny Gray on a rookie contract for the next 4 years. And I can't wait to see that relationship continue to cultivate between Gray and Lance. It's really going to, uses Lance's, skill set to the best. Like, we need Trey Lance can throw the ball down the field. That's something that he can bring to this offense. Now we actually have a receiver who can do that, stretch the field. And that's going to open up things underneath for, George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. So I think it's great. I think this team is the future is very bright for this team. And, I can't wait for week 1, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, Trader Gray is going to be a lot of fun. And you mentioned Marquise Goodwin. I mean, sure, speed-wise, Marquise Goodwin, they're very similar. Marquise Goodwin might be a little bit faster, but they're pretty similar in that regard. But where Danny Gray has the edge, he's actually built a lot better than Marquise Goodwin. He's a bit taller. And when Shanahan was on the phone, if you saw the mic'd up thing when Shanahan called Danny Gray when we drafted him, he said something like, "Oh, we love your speed, but the second attribute that you have that we like is the toughness." Danny Gray is just a tougher dude in general. Right. He's got that run after the catch ability. Goodwin, as fast as he was, didn't necessarily exhibit that tough, that run after the catch type ability that we see with guys like Ayuk, Deebo, and Kittle. And, Shanahan knows how to draw people open, obviously. And when our receivers can benefit from that, you see the good old run after the catch and just catch a little 5-yard play and just dudes just explode off the field. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And also with, I would say the defense has been excelling really well, in training camp and in preseason. Obviously Bosa, he is a perennial, all pro type player. He's going to get a big check next offseason. But continuing to have multiple players along the defensive line who can step in. Tamiko Kure was a great pick up this offseason. Of course, Drake Jackson, he's showing a lot of promise. Hopefully, Armstead, can come back healthy week 1. I think he was participating in one-on-one drills, I believe, in the practice versus the Vikings, but not in team drills yet. They're bringing Armstead slowly along. But also this is Javon Kinlaw. I mean, we know Javon Kinlaw had a interesting offseason, this year. And he's looking great. He's in great shape. He's participating. He's a full participant in these practices versus the Vikings. And, hopefully he can have a big year. If he can take on double teams and allow, Bosa and Samson, Kerry Hyder, all the other defensive ends that we have to have one-on-one matches, it could, like how we saw. I'm sure the fans in the chat saw all the videos from Twitter and things like that, where Bosa was just dominating his guy. We were able to get pressure on Kirk Cousins, and even our corners were making plays as well. So I think this is the best defense under the Kyle Shanahan era. I think so, at least on paper. They haven't played any games together yet, but
it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential. And bringing in Charvarius Ward, a damn good corner, Pro Bowl caliber corner, who's played in big games with the Kansas City Chiefs. That was our weak point, last year, the cornerback. And we still were able to have like a top 7, top 5 defense. So I think the sky's the limit.
Hey, great points. I'm going to bring up a few other things in regards to the past preseason game, and we'll get into the joint practices later. We're winging this, guys, today. I didn't write up any questions, but there's so much to talk about. We don't even need to write things up. And we're thankful for whoever's here in the chat. And I'm going to shout out somebody in just a second. But before I do that, you mentioned my subscribers earlier, so I appreciate all my new subscribers. A lot of new people have subscribed over the past month or so. So welcome. I really appreciate it. I'm thankful for that. But I did look up my YouTube analytical data not too long ago, and it said that 50% of your viewers are unsubscribed to the channel. Yeah. So I'm just dropping this. I'm not too far from 600, the magic number 600, trying to get to 1,000 at least, but on the way. But on the bottom of the screen, it just says subscribe to 49er Minded. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching. Hit that like button. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm 49er Minded on Instagram, really easy to find. Follow me on Twitter, at 49er Minded. There's a 49er Minded Facebook group as well. And also, you got to do this. If you have any questions about the show, or if you're a prospective guest or whatever, if you have any suggestions, whatever it may be, if you want to do a sponsorship, hit me up on the DMs and we can chat it out. So with that said, let me just hit up some people that just dropped in. We have a very special dude, my very vocal 49er fan, very passionate 49er fan. You guys might know him on Twitter. I'm not going to bust his name out, but we got JG638 here says, did we cut Jenny G yet? Drop it. We need to drop it.
What's good?
Yeah, just keep doing it. Every time I bring up a new guest, just feel free to do it. Yeah, this guy is. So I did my song. If you guys ever heard "Who's Going to the Game," what's good? My playoff hype 49er hype song with my fake E40 voice. There's a part in it where I say "What's good," and it's semi inspired by you. It's also inspired by something else. It's kind of an inside joke, but I'm not going to talk about it on here. But it's also inspired by you as well. Oh, who else is in here? I saw a new name. We got Stevo Supremo. I'm not sure what he's talking about right here. He says 638. So you're worth with the paper wrapping. I'm not sure what that's about. I think he's talking about the Jimmy G trade or something. We got 49er dude, the guy who did the rap on my new intro. Check him out. Check out his YouTube channel. That's his YouTube channel. Says, "What's up, folks? Pop it in real quick. Can't stay. Getting ready for work. Go Niners. Drop it."
Very, very talented, man. I gotta say, what's good? That's a nice intro, man. I like that.
He is very talented. You know, when I hear 49er dude on his songs, on his rap, he's got his own voice. Not that like he really sounds like anybody, but when I hear him, I get those vibes of like WC and the Mad Circle or the West Side Connection, that old school LA hip hop from like the 90s, the G-Funk era as they call it. Yeah, I love older hip hop. I don't care about the new stuff though. We got Liv's World.
What's good? How you doing, Libby's World?
Libby's World, welcome. Seen you before. I recognize you. Yeah, so obviously you mentioned Bosa. He's been dominating today. He had if it was a real game, who's calling me? I'm getting a call from a relative. Actually, I can hit them up later. That's where I get a call during the show. But I'll just hit him up. What I was gonna say was Bosa. He's always making people hold him. He's always dominating. But had it been a real game today, Brad Graham, shout out to him. Brad Graham, the SF Niners, excellent content creator. He's great on Twitter. He's on the ground in Minnesota at these joint practices, and he pretty much documented and tweeted out that Bosa had a would-be 6 sacks today. What Christian Darrisaw, the left tackle of the Minnesota Vikings, could not handle him, and Bosa's on his way to another stellar season. And with the addition of Drake Jackson, who I liked a lot in this past preseason game, and we got so many defensive linemen and pass rushers. It's going to be crazy, man.
No, absolutely. And shout out to Mr. Graham, the SF 49ers, man. He does a hell of a job. He was at training camp in Santa Clara, and man, he does a hell of a job. He makes you feel like you're actually there, at training camp. He gives us amazing updates. So shout out to him. Kudos to him. But yeah, man, Bosa's on his way this year. I think he's going to have another all-pro season. He's probably going to be the highest paid edge rusher ever. Probably one of the highest paid contracts in 49er history, I'm sure, but Bosa's well worth it. And man, you combine the defensive line with the 3 best linebackers, I feel, in the NFL, especially when they're healthy, and then a secondary. I mean, this defense is going to be very, very good. Hopefully we can be a little bit better than we were last year. I mean, last year we were pretty damn good with Josh Norman starting at quarterback for a few weeks. So I think we could be even better. And we got to appreciate D'Amico Ryans while he's here, because if we have another stellar season on defense, which I think a lot of Niner fans feel we will, D'Amico Ryans is going to be a candidate for a head coaching job. So if he does get it, it's well deserved. But yeah, man, I love this defense. One thing that's great about Trey Lance and his situation coming into his second season, but his first full season as a starter, he's not going to be relied on like the other, rookie quarterbacks or the other second-year quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence, like Zach Wilson, like Mac Jones. I feel like we have the best team of players. You look at top to bottom, the best 53-man roster, and Trey doesn't have to throw the ball 50 times. He can throw 20 to 25 times, and we rely on our running game that was bolstered this offseason through the draft. We go 4 to 5 running backs deep. You add in Deebo Samuel as well. So I just think, the sky is the limit. I think the Trey Lance we see from week 1 to week 10 will be much different. And we'll see a much better player. And as long as he continues to progress week by week, I mean, as a fan, that's all you can really ask for.
Got that right. Let me say shout out to Mark from the Always Faithful 24/7 YouTube channel. I was on there yesterday, had a great time. They have a wonderful cast of characters. When I mean characters, I mean characters. It's a lot of fun on that show. Very underrated channel. They got a whole bunch of wild, wacky stuff going on there, and very knowledgeable, I must say. It was a great time being on there. I was there for like 90 minutes yesterday, and yeah, just excellent. Check out their channel, subscribe to them. Great to have you on, Mark. What's up, Bashar and Jay? What's good?
How you doing? Always Faithful. I got to check you out.
Oh, you definitely got to check them out. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to get into this because you weren't here for the post game show that I did with Swan Song, and I didn't really get to hear your takes on what happened in the preseason game against the Packers. And I'm gonna take a page out of Mark's book because I was on his show yesterday, and he was asking like, who did you think was the best player or players? Like, you can go with players. Who your standout guys and who stood out, and did anybody disappoint you? Go ahead and let's hear it.
I think offensively it was definitely Danny Gray. He beat his defender. Trey Lance was able to get him the ball quick, fast, in a hurry, and he was able to outrun the entire defense. So I think Danny Gray definitely splashed in the preseason game. Trey Lance, hey, he wasn't too shabby either. 4 or 5. He did what he had to do in his 10 snaps. And defensively, I mean, it was Samuel Womack. I mean, talk about a vote of confidence. We brought in Darqueze Dennard last year. He played pretty well, at least well enough for the 49ers to sign him to a 1-year deal this offseason. And because of Samuel Womack's play, they decided to release Darqueze Dennard, who was basically the front runner to win that nickel corner spot now that K'Wan Williams is with Denver. So Samuel Womack to have 2 interceptions in a preseason game, like I know it's just preseason, but Samuel Womack he's a rookie, right? He's a rookie, and I don't think anyone really gave him an opportunity to really win the starting job. I know he was lining up in that position as a nickel corner in practices and things like that, but Darqueze Dennard was getting majority of the first team reps. So I think it's a huge vote of confidence by this 49ers defensive coaching staff to, hey, basically almost anoint him, right? To anoint Samuel Womack to be that starting nickel corner job. And then in turn, releasing Darqueze Dennard. So also, Talanoa Hufanga, bringing the boom, that was that's what Huff does, right?
That was a Ronnie Lott hit. That was a throwback. Yeah.
That was a welcome to the NFL, Rook. That's what that was. That's that type of hit that was. So he flashed. I would say there was a defensive end who was Oren Burks, the linebacker who we got this offseason. He's a special teams ace. He was just all around the field. I just noticed him on my screen. He was just always around the ball when he was in. And that's great because this linebacking core, I know a linebacker we had, I think it was a UDFA, last name Ball. I think he had an interception in the preseason game. It's going to be very difficult for him to try to get on the 53-man active roster due to players like, Oren Burks. So we go 4 to 5 deep in the linebacker room, and I think it's great to see. So, yeah, there are a lot of players who made big plays and make splashes against the Packers. And I'm looking forward to see who can make some splashes against the Vikings because, a lot of starters won't be playing. So it'd be interesting to see, who flashes against the Vikings.
You got that right. You mentioned our linebacking core earlier, our starters. Obviously, we have an excellent trio of starters. But what I am seeing and what I've been hearing a lot in minicamp, and I wasn't really getting excited about it because our starters are so dope anyways. But
right.
Obviously, we picked up Oren Burks, who's a nice addition, great special teamer, and seems like a good, capable backup linebacker. But we have so much athleticism at that position. We have a lot of converted safeties at that position.
Yeah, DFS.
Yeah. So it's McCreary Ball had that big interception, almost took it back for a pick 6. And I don't know if D'Amico Ryans plays a part in drafting who our linebackers are, or if he has any input on it. But whatever we're doing with the linebackers is great. I love it, and it's exciting. It's almost as getting as deep as the D line is. So
absolutely. Great. And D'Amico Ryans, he played the linebacker position at a high level when he was in the NFL with the Texans and the Eagles. So when he first came to the Niners, he was just a linebacking coach. I believe it was in 2017, maybe 2018. So I think he is probably responsible for Fred Warner's ability, and for Fred Warner's Pro Bowl caliber play that we see. And then also you look at Dre Greenlaw, who is a day 2 pick. You look at Aziz Al-Shair. I believe Aziz was undrafted, I believe. So, D'Amico Ryans, not only is he able to, elevate his linebacking core, but he can help elevate the entire defense with his scheme. So I think it's a win-win. And whoever gets him next year as a head coach is going to be lucky. That's for sure.
I was gonna say, man, it's a double-edged sword. We always want our defensive coordinators or our just assistant coaches in general to flourish and thrive. But what happens? Other teams snatch them up, and it seems like teams snatch up our guys more so than anybody else, as if we're winning the Super Bowl every damn year. It's like, hold up, let us win a damn Super Bowl first. Hopefully, with trade we can. Maybe we can add another one. We got 5 right here, right? Shout out to For the Faithful Azteca. Ray Pena, the Niner, had him on my show before. He's got an Instagram page, Forever Faithful Azteca, and they make these. He makes all kinds of different T-shirts. So shout out to him, man. Made this awesome T-shirt right here. But yeah, we always lose our coaches. It's crazy, man. But again, though, we just doing a great job with the defense and picking up various defensive players.
And I was going to say, back to the coaching, I think it's a great problem to have because, I mean, that's your goal as a head coach. You want to, hire guys within or hire guys you may know and help, push their career forward. Because a lot of coaches, they come in, they might be a special teams coach or offensive defensive coordinator or a line coach, but some have aspirations to be a head coach. And I think it's great on, Coach Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree. You got Mike McDaniel, you got Robert Saleh. They already have head coaching jobs. I think D'Amico Ryans will be next. And then you continue to build that staff. And it is a double-edged sword, but I think it speaks to your organization and how you build a coaching staff. The Rams have the same problem with McVay. Everyone's looking for that next McVay, that next Shanahan. And I think it's a great problem to have, and it's good to see people live their dreams and get that head coaching opportunity. So because there's only 32 jobs, it's only 32.
Exactly. Who do we have here in the chat? Amin the Dream says, "What's good?
What's good, Amin? How you doing tonight?"
Amin the Dream with the fresh haircut. I saw you on yesterday with Jason Aponte. Yeah, you just started high school, so congratulations to you, man. I saw a bit of your podcast yesterday. So, I mean, the Dream's been doing work. Just a very bright young man. I don't want to call him a kid anymore. I can't because he's in high school now. So.
Yeah, he's in high school now. You gotta show some respect now. Man.
Exactly. He's earned his stripes. Oh man, we always go off topic on here. It's all good though. Yeah, so I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of the running back room? Because it almost didn't Trey Sermon get hurt today? I'm not sure what the injury was, but there does. I mean, obviously we know Elijah Mitchell's most likely going to be the starter. And when he was in camp, running around, we didn't really see him because I wasn't at camp, obviously. But I've heard nothing but amazing things about him. A friend of mine was there and just said he looked so explosive. But we drafted TDP, we drafted Sermon, we got Jordan Mason in the mix, Jeff Wilson Jr., JaMychal Hasty. Like, what's your take on the whole running back room and where you think it's going to go? And I'm not sure if you know more about the Sermon injury than I do. So.
Yeah, I didn't hear about the Trey Sermon injury, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully, it's not it won't last too long, it won't linger. But Kyle Shanahan has had some sketchy history in drafting running backs. I mean, you look at Joe Williams, you look at Trey Sermon last year. He hasn't really hit the ground running. But the 49ers have had success in getting UDFAs like in Jordan Mason. Hopefully he can make the active roster. And then you look at last year, Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round pick. I don't understand why we, drafted a running back to back. The only thing I can think is, Trey Sermon, he just doesn't fit the scheme. He doesn't fit what Shanahan wants in a running back. I don't understand why you drafted him though, right? Why'd you draft him in the 3rd round? I don't understand that. TDP, he's a different back. He's a bruising back. He's like a one-cut runner. He's not going to really he's not going to fake you out. He's not real shifty, I guess you would say. But yeah, I think I like the 49ers running back room as it is now, especially if we can stay healthy. I know Elijah Mitchell has been he's got a hamstring issue, so hopefully he'll be ready for week 1. And hopefully, as I said before, the Trey Sermon injury won't linger. But the 49ers continue to address the running back position in the draft. Got TDP this year, and I think that's good. I don't know about the rest of the faithful, but I don't want to see Deebo Samuel, carry the ball 8 to 10 times a game this year. Maybe we can have him run the ball in the playoffs. I'm down with that. But I don't want to see
playoffs.
Deebo really. Yeah. I don't want to see Deebo run the ball, 8 to 10 times in regular season games. But I think everything will work itself out. We know that Kyle Shanahan and his dad Mike Shanahan have had 1,000-yard rushers from undrafted free agents, from guys. Basically, no one knew who Elijah Mitchell was, right? A 6th-round pick. He was arguably the best pick of the draft outside, of course, Trey Lance. But man, I think it's a running back room that will help lead this offense. I don't think Trey Lance will be able to flourish without a good running game. And I believe in the running game. Hopefully, guys are healthy. I think that's what it's going to come down to. But we know Shanahan loves to run the ball. Hopefully we can run the ball at least 25 to 35 times, take some pressure off Trey Lance, work on play action. But I'm looking forward to what the running backs can do week 1 against Chicago. I mean, it is week 1. Chicago is not, they're not expected to really go far this year in the playoffs or whatever, but it is week 1, so they're not going to just lay down. This isn't December yet. So I'm looking forward to
any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, they put on their shoulder pads the same way the Niners do. They put on their pants the same way the Niners do. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, hopefully we keep Jordan Mason. But Trey Sermon is a 3rd-round draft pick. I highly doubt that the 49ers will cut Trey Sermon. I just don't see it happening. But we know there's going to be a lot of injuries on this team, especially in the running back room, and we're going to have a running back on the practice squad. So regardless of who makes it, I think we'll be just fine. Yeah.
I didn't see any further diagnosis, but I did check that Sermon walked off the field gingerly on his ankle. And we all know how injuries can go. They can be minor, they can be major. So not sure where that one's going. But we do got David Edmondson in the chat from Real Talk Niner Talk. Said Lance is off on Saturday. I had a feeling Lance wouldn't play on Saturday, or he won't play. I think we run the ball like crazy against Minnesota. Hey, we might see more from Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. Hey, they didn't look too shabby.
Yeah.
And speaking of Purdy, we got Waruna Pereira from No Border Sports, No BS Sports.
Do you think we'll keep three quarterbacks on active roster?
I think we'll keep no. I think Purdy will probably be on the practice squad, and he needs to learn the offense, and he's pretty sure he's got a lot to learn. So I have no problem with that.
I agree.
I do like Purdy's ability to run around and make plays, and he's just a very feisty quarterback. I love that about him. I liked him a lot in the 2020 season. He seemed to have fallen off a little bit in the 2021 season over at Iowa State Cyclones, but the knock on him is his lack of arm at all, lack of arm strength. He's, if you compare his arm to Sudfeld's arm, it's like night and day.
I mean, there's a reason why he was a 7th-round pick, so
Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
What up, Aruna, though? Shout out to you, bro. Long time no see.
Cool.
Dave, what up, David McNew? He says 49ers over the Bears. Yeah, I mean, on paper, we should. Jeez, man, I don't know how we would end up losing to the Bears. I mean, the Bears right now, if you look at their list of injuries in terms of their wide receiving core, and on top of that, they lost Allen Robinson, it is not looking good for Chicago Bears at all. And we all know how it's not a destination for any quarterback or wide receiver in terms of the passing game. I was surprised Allen Robinson went there to begin with. Obviously, they offered him the big money. He was going to go to the 49ers. I was hoping we'd land him. Yeah. But, the money talks, and Chicago got him. But now he's gone. He went to the Rams. What up, Ryan from No Border Sports? How you doing? Says, what's up, everyone?
Cool. How you doing, MBS?
and for the record, we're kind of winging. So if anybody has any specific questions, we'll try to answer them. I can't guarantee that I can answer every single question, but I'll do my best to answer any questions that may pop up.
Quick question. What do you think about Deshaun Watson, and do you think the Browns would be interested in Jimmy G now that Deshaun Watson got suspended for 11 games? What do you think?
It's really interesting. Something tells me that I don't know who their other quarterback is. That's the thing, though.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. That's right. How did I forget? Something tells me that they just might stick with Jacoby because, because with Jimmy, you got to take on the salary. I mean, unless, the 49ers are willing to gobble up part of his salary, or unless Jimmy's willing to rework a deal, it doesn't seem like a sure thing. Like people, and obviously we remember those other Niner fans who were assuming that some trade was going to go down. They just assumed it was set in stone that we were going to do a trade with the New York Jets because they were like, Zach Wilson tore his ACL. I'm like, where's it say that? And then I read a report that Robert Saleh said, oh, well, it looks like his ACL should be intact. And then they did the MRI, and lo and behold, it's like a 2 to 4 week recovery on a torn meniscus, arthroscopic surgery. So it's bad, but it's not the end of the world for the Jets, and they don't need to be desperate. And so therefore, they're not going to be trading with us for Jimmy G. I'm thinking that we just release Jimmy G right before week 1 starts. I don't see the Browns doing it. I just really don't. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance in this, Sure, it benefits us if we do a trade. I just don't think we get much in return. I mean, what are we going to get, a 4th rounder, a 5th, 3rd rounder? Who knows what we'd get for Jimmy if the trade went down.
Yeah, and in regards to Zach Wilson, I think as football fans, we can kind of tell when it's a knee injury, especially when it's non-contact. Unfortunately, when it's a non-contact injury and a player goes down, we automatically think of the worst that could happen, and that's why a lot of people were thinking, oh, it could be a torn ACL. But fortunately for Zach Wilson and the Jets, he's only going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. I think at most he could miss like 1 or 2 regular season games at most. But I know the Jets are hoping that he's ready for week 1. If I were the Cleveland Browns, do I want to rely on Jacoby Brissett for 11 games? I know the Browns have a good running game. They have a good defense. But Jacoby Brissett, I mean, as a starter, he's only won 14 games. As a starter out of a possible like 37 games. So he hasn't really, I just think he's a backup. I think he's a guy that you want for a few games at most, but when you see his record, like in 2017, he started 15 games for the Colts. His record was 4-11. And then in 2019 with the Colts, he started 15 games. He was 7-8. So I just don't think he's a guy that can really take you to the next level. Now, I don't know if Jimmy can either, but there's no question Jimmy G's record is way, way better. And you're talking about the cap space. The Cleveland Browns have the cap space. They can I think they have like $49 million in cap space. So they can take on
maybe Jimmy they do G's take contract. Him because it's $49 million.
Exactly. So they could take on Jimmy G's salary, and there's plenty of maneuvers they could make to decrease his base salary this year. Maybe they'll sign him to a 1-year extension or whatever and reduce his base salary. But I think Jimmy G is better than Brissett. I think now, is he $27 million better? Probably not, but you don't want to, I hate to say it, you don't want to throw away the season with Brissett as a starter, because to me, he just hasn't proven to be, he's basically been average so far. Well, according to his record, he's been below average. But if I were the Browns, I'd take a chance on Jimmy G. I would trade for him. You want him in camp as soon as possible if you're really interested in him. You don't want to have to, unless you allow Jacoby to start the first few games to see what he has and then go to Jimmy. I mean, but if I were the Browns, I would trade for Jimmy because I think he's better than Brissett, and I think he'll give you a better chance to win. And Jimmy would have a lot to prove. I mean, Jimmy's on the last year of his contract. If he's able to play at least 11 games for the Browns, stay healthy, be productive, maybe have the Browns at 7-4 or 8-3. What will that do for Jimmy G and his market next year, right? Next offseason. So I think you'd have a motivated Jimmy G. And I think that's the best player you can get, especially a player in their contract year. I mean, that's one of the best things a franchise can benefit from. So if I were the Browns, I'd trade for Jimmy G.
So you heard it. If Jay in the Bay was a GM for the Cleveland Browns, he would do the trade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. It's very, very, it's 50-50 is how I look at it, Yeah. So we got some questions popping up in the chat. I'm gonna address them, but I'm also I'm gonna just drop an announcement here really, really quick. And there's a reason behind it. But I'm gonna play a little bit of a song, And a little bit of that song may give you a hint on in terms of why I'm dropping this, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. Here we go. Just a second. Here we go. Just a moment. Just a second, guys. Trying to cue this up.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Faithful to the black. Who's going to the game?
I love your E40 impression, man.
Y'all going to the game? I'm going to the game. Who's going to the game? Who's going to the game? Y'all going to the game? I'm going to the game.
All right, so we have the home opener in Seattle. It's September 18th. I'm going to pop it up on the screen in just a second. Versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
And who's going to the game? What's good? What's good? I'm going to the game. I'm literally going to the game.
All right.
I'll be at the game, so that's why we're doing this. Hang on, I was going to pop it up on the screen. I think I lost my
Nice,
phone.
man.
Yeah,
home
so
opener.
Yeah, let me pop up the information one more time because I have something else I was going to show in regards to the game. So here it is one more time. Here we go. There's Brandon Ayuk. Somebody, actually really quick, somebody in the chat, Brandon, let me pop up. He's another Brandon there. Yeah. No pun intended. We got Brandon Ayuk and this other guy, Brandon Latiker. If I can find his message in the chat, he had a good question for us. Where is he at? So I can pop. Here we go. He said, what player has a big game week 1? And my response to that, coincidentally, on the flyer from the 49ers website, Levi Stadium website, I think it's going to be Brandon Ayuk to answer Brandon Latiker's question. Welcome to the channel. And who do you think is going to have a big game on week 1?
Big game week 1. I'm going to go with TDP. I think TDP will have a big game. I'm going to say.
Oh, this is week 1 versus the Bears. As I was a little confused because I was talking about I'm going to the Seattle Seahawks game, home over Levi's, but against the Bears, I was still saying Ayuk. Yeah.
I'm going to say TDP. I think he'll get, maybe 12 carries, 80 yards, 2 TDs. I think we'll use him in the red zone. We finally have a bruising running back on this roster. I don't think we really don't, and we don't use Juice really to run the ball. So I think TDP will have a big game. I think he's going to have either multiple touchdowns or maybe he'll get like 12 carries, 80 yards, something like that.
So you heard it here first. He's saying TDP, Tyrion Davis Price, if I'm saying that first name right. And there's a great question in the chat from John V from the Locker Room Rant on YouTube. Let's see what he says. It says, Bash and Jay, what'd you guys think of the comments that Ayuk made in today's presser? I didn't catch it. What'd he say? Or if John V can clue us in.
I think they asked him, what do you think about the joint practices with the Vikings? And basically, I believe he just seemed like nonchalant about it. He just seemed like, basically is kind of boring. That's basically what I got from it.
Oh, okay. And it's interesting too when you do see those videos from joint practice. Again, not me. I'm shout out the people who are dropping these videos. If I'm missing any names, let me know. But I know Brad Graham. Again, I mentioned him earlier from DSF Niners on Twitter. He's been dropping a lot of videos on his Instagram as well. Stephanie Sanchez, she dropped some good videos on the Strachosaurus from 49 Carats on YouTube. She's doing work out there in Minnesota. I'm sure there's other people who are as well. I'm just forgetting the names, but one thing I did notice, and Grant Cohn had mentioned it on his, not good and not so good reports, is you'll see on the videos there's 2 fields going at once. It's just like, and a lot of times when they mention certain great plays, like, oh, look at this great throw from Trey Lance to Danny Gray, this huge big throw, and it's like the guy is filming from freaking like 2 football fields away, because it's on the second field. So it's really, it's interesting because like they're letting fans in, but fans can't really see things all that well. So we really rely on these content creators, these beat writers out there who are on the feet, they're on the ground, up close and personal to catch these guys and tell us what they're doing. And I did hear that we worked out some safety today too. I'm not sure if we're signing him. I forgot his name, but as far as safeties go, in Jimmy Ward's absence, who's it? George Odom. Yeah. So he got an interception today off of
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. So that's nice to see, man. I know we picked him up, and a lot of people were quite iffy on Tarvarius Moore, not Charvarius Ward. our backup safety number 33. He kind of got burnt a little in the preseason game. He's still coming back from his Achilles tear injury. It's a very serious injury. He had 4.3 speed when we drafted him, and I liked him a lot too before his injury. So it's gonna be interesting. So he's a veteran. The guy we picked up is a veteran safety, George Odom. So hopefully he can help. And maybe, who knows, maybe he starts in place of Jimmy Ward if Jimmy Ward doesn't start week 1.
And talk about, an injury that we can't afford is Jimmy Ward. I mean, he is, to me, the captain of the defense. He's one of the longest tenured 49ers. And he knows the defense. He knows where everyone needs to be lined up. He's a leader out there when he's on the field. And hamstring injuries, they're just one of the worst injuries to have, because it just doesn't seem like the player ever really gets his feet under him and really able to accelerate. Because we saw Debo had that similar injury last year. Or not last year, but the year before. I think it was the 2020 season. And it's you have to rest, but then you have to work it out. You have to get that treatment. And it sucks to have Jimmy Ward out. Hopefully he'll be ready week 1. Maybe I'm a little too cocky by saying I don't think we necessarily need him week 1 to beat the Bears, but I think he'll definitely be missed if he's not out there. And especially with Huff being the projected starter opposite of Jimmy Ward, we know Huff is coming into his second season, and I'm sure he leans on Jimmy Ward's guidance out there on the field. So I think Huff will be missing, some tutelage from Jimmy Ward if he's not on the field. And Tavarius Moore, I think he was competing with Huff for snaps at that strong safety spot. And Moore, that's not really his strong suit to be in man-to-man coverage. But one rule for corners, you can never let the receiver get on your hip. I'm not sure why, but he should have been backpedaling and started to run much faster. So that way the wide receiver. Yeah, but before he gets on your hip.
Yeah, he looked lackadaisical on that play. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, maybe he didn't think the guy was that fast, but he got up on him quick, fast, in a hurry. And Jordan Love delivered a catchable ball. But everyone's going to get beat as long as Tavarius Moore can learn from that and try to get better. We brought over George Odom, who was a standout special team player from the Colts. And I think he could fill in opposite of Talanoa Hufanga. I mean, unless the 49ers bring in another safety, I think Odom could be the potential starter, or maybe they'll have Odom and Moore play that safety spot opposite of, Huff. Or I would imagine to see maybe even a 3 safety look as well, where you have, Moore, Odom, and Talanoa Hufanga back there. So definitely a tough injury to have, because we don't have a lot of depth in that safety room, I don't think. And Jimmy Ward is clearly the best, safety that we have on the field. There's no question about it. And he's a leader out there. So hopefully he gets back sooner than later.
For the record, I hear the Bears O-line, this is according to some of the fans, that the Bears O-line is trash. So hopefully our pass rush makes up for it. There was a question in the chat. There's a lot of questions in the chat. So I was saying earlier, I wasn't sure if I could get to all of them, and we could just get caught up in the flow of conversation. And I forget to bring up points that I want to bring up, and we all forget things. So no border sports, and don't worry, your question wasn't chopped liver. It was just a whole bunch was going on. A whole lot was going on. He said, do you think passing out of the triple option will get us more passing yards because the option should hold the linebackers longer? You want to answer that?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, how many times we line up in that triple option package, because we've never really seen that under Kyle Shanahan. So that is something very intriguing that Kyle Shanahan has added to this playbook for Trey Lance to operate. But I think honestly, any play action where there's play action involving Trey Lance, where he's pretending to hand the ball off to a running back and then he brings it back and surveys the defense, I think that's going to allow Trey Lance to have more opportunities out there in the open field. Whether it be to, Kittle underneath, or Ayuk and Gray over the top, or Debo in the flat. I think that'll definitely help. And I think just the play action motion, or just the play action there, it's going to hold defenses a lot more. Also, defense, they're going to have to actually cover, more than the line of scrimmage to 10 yards, because they're going to have to worry about, a deep throw. I'm sure other defenses and other coaches have seen Trey Lance really, throw the ball deep. And that's something that's really been missing, in this offense.
And when Trey throws it deep, it's like it's effortless. I mean, the last game, it's almost like the one to Danny Gray. It's like, look at the flick of the wrist. You know, it's not like he's just going whoa and like throwing all of his power and effort into it. You know, it's just like boom, and it's crazy, man. There was it's nuts. David Edmondson said this. He said, "No border sports." I was waiting for them to answer. I think it's definitely will help to get more passing yards. Those linebackers won't be able to cheat in the middle because of the run threat Trey Lance has. And I was listening to this podcast. It was from Niners Nation's podcast with Rob Stats Guerrera and Kyle Posey. You guys may have heard of him. I believe it was Rob Stats Guerrera that said it, and it was great. It was great to hear. He said something to the tune of, "It's going to be nice to actually watch the 49ers on offense, and during the pre-snap, that during the pre-snap, we're so used to seeing the whole defense within the camera view, and now we're not going to, now you're only going to see." The D-line and a couple of the linebackers, maybe not like have everybody just stack in the box or stack in the middle like crazy because they know we're either going to run up the middle or throw it in the middle. It's a lot of things are going to be spread out, and it just leaves the opportunity for big plays to be open. We heard a few days ago in our, not against Minnesota in practices, but our own practices, that Lance had turned the corner on a read option play, a la what Kaepernick used to do from time to time, and he just turned the corner, outran the whole defense, and freaking ran for 60 yards. We don't want Cap to be Michael Vick, obviously, and we know he's not. We know he looks to looks to throw first. He scans the field, but it's really nice to have that element, though. When you have that element, it just makes things, a big run like that, so much easier. Let me welcome buddy of mine from Twitter. How you doing? I believe it's Pule SF 49ers LAL. Says Niners, go Niners, faithful to the Bay. God bless. Good to see you on here, bro. And we got Mariah from the 49er Faithful League podcast. How you doing? Subscribe to her channel. Been a guest on that great channel with her and TL. They're holding it down over in Las Vegas, repping the Niner Empire. Hit it, Jay.
What's good? How you doing, Mariah?
Yeah, me and Mariah go back like babies and pacifiers. I mentioned earlier that I was gonna hit up. I'm gonna be at the game basically for the home opener, September 18th, and I'm gonna drop this right here too because this is really important for those who are in attendance. There's gonna be a lot of functions going on, but the night before there's a huge meet and greet home opener gathering at this. I believe it's a bar/restaurant. It's in Sunnyvale. I'm going to post this on my 49er Facebook group. I'm going to post it on my 49er Twitter page, on my Instagram. And if for whatever reason that you guys are connected on there, you don't see it and you didn't see the information, and you do want to meet up with us, 49er Dude there is going to be there. The rapper, Eye of the Niner, is going to be there rapping. Dave Canal, who was a great 49er rapper. You guys know him as Heat. They're going to have a DJ. They're going to have raffles. It's $10 to get in, and it's going to be a birthday celebration as well. Nick from Nothing But Niners hit me up and said he's really excited to be there, and he's going to be going. So I don't know who else is going to be there from YouTube. If anybody else is going to be out there, I'll let you guys know. But if you guys have any questions about that, about the gathering, if you guys want to hit it up, feel free to hit me up on my social media, and we can talk about it, and I can give you the information. So just throwing that out there for whoever's going to the game and wants to meet up the night before. And we do have Celts Chronicles in the building, says yeah. Check out his YouTube channel. We got so many content creators in the house, man. It's crazy, man. We're just one big happy family here.
Absolutely.
Corey Davis, huge supporter of the channel. Says hello, my brother. Niners.
KD, what's good with you, man?
Yeah, that's the real KD. Yeah, so
Exactly.
cool to see people here. And then he says I'm gonna try to go there. My mother asked me about it. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. If you're able to go to it on the 17th, yeah, definitely check it. I'll be there. I'm easy to find. So if I'm there, I'm there. And it's a good chance that I'll be on the microphone introducing some of the musical performances. So you'll definitely see me and hear me there. Without a doubt. I'll be a part of the fun. So yeah, and I haven't been to a 49er gathering with fans in a long, long time. So last time I did was last year at the Kansas City Chiefs preseason game over at Levi's. So yeah, I'm waiting for it. Do you have any plans to go to any games this year, Jay in the Bay?
Probably no games this year. No.
When was the last time you hit up Levi's?
Last time I did go to 2 training camp practices this year. And then
that's right.
And then the previous year I was able to go to the Dwight Clark practice that they have at Levi Stadium on August 7th. Unfortunately, this year they only had like maybe 20% of the tickets available that they had compared to last year, so wasn't able to go to that. But Man, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Levi's. Probably not. It's difficult because as a content creator, on my channel, on the Jane and Bay YouTube channel, I have a pregame show. So, and then after that, a few hours later, I have a post-game show. So, for me, I live almost probably with traffic, probably 2 hours from the stadium. So, um, I want to put my content first, so I want to be home. But yeah, I definitely need to make it out.
Yeah. You can always do a post game the next day, though. I've done that multiple times.
That's true. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
You can make that one exception for that one game you can go to. It'd be cool. If you were going to a game, I'd love to meet you, man. We got Roberto Hastings. Says Jay in the Bay.
What's good, Roberto?
Hang on. So that's it's Roberto right there. And but before we wrap things up, really quick, just tell us some things that you saw in practice that you liked, and after that we'll get going with the show.
Okay. So practice today, I did see a highlight of Demo Lenore. I think he was guarding Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And Demo Lenore, now it depends on who you ask, because he was holding a little bit on Justin Jefferson, but it's like, if the ref doesn't see it, they won't call it, whatever. What I like what Demo Lenore did was, even though Justin Jefferson got his hands on the ball, he continued to fight to break the ball up, to have a PBU, basically a pass breakup. So I like that. I saw that from Demo Lenore. It's interesting. It seems like Demo Lenore's stock is rising, while unfortunately Ambry Thomas, he is slightly declining. And that's unfortunate to see, but that was good to see from Demo Lenore. Obviously, Nick Bosa is a monster. Whenever he's out there, he's wrecking havoc. And I love the energy, passion that Fred Warner brings to this team. Like he just elevates the entire defense. I love his attitude. Even at training camp, like when the defense came out, Fred Warner led the way, and then he went to the crowd and yelled at the crowd. So I love the passion, energy that he brings to the team. He reminds me of a player, kind of like Ray Lewis. Obviously, he's not the player yet that Ray Lewis was, but just, we know Ray Lewis from his theatrics, always hyping up, always talking. And I love that Fred Warner brings this to this defense for sure.
And what I loved about Fred Warner is when it was just a coincidental moment, but he was being interviewed on the sidelines during that preseason game by Vernon Glenn, and then lo and behold, the first play of that new possession with Sudfeld was a touchdown to Ray McLeod. Great post route by Ray McLeod, by the way, on that deep post. Yeah. But Fred Warner was so excited, and he was like talking to the camera. He had such a lovable personality, man. Great guy.
Absolutely. You need that. You need someone who's going to galvanize the entire locker room. I think you got that in him. Kittle, Debo, Trent Williams, those are, and I think Trey Lance can be that way as well.
Yeah. And with that said, man, we're, hang on. I'm sorry, man. We're going to shut this down, but I do got to say what's up to a couple people really, really quick. I wasn't expecting these people to drop in late. We got Taryn Lewis from 49er Faithful League Podcast. This is my Niner fam. What's up, bro? Great to have you on here, man. It's just awesome, dude. Been on this channel with him and Mariah. Also, had many great conversations with that guy in the Twitter Spaces. And good to see. And you mentioned Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas came on late towards the end of last year, and I really like the guy. And he's having a tough camp. He didn't look too bad in the last preseason game. You mentioned Diamador Lenore. I forgot who it was, but somebody ran some big. I think it was a big running play or a big receiving play. But I remember this guy almost broke for a touchdown. He ran for a long way up the field, and Diamador Lenore came out of nowhere and tracked him down and tackled him. So that was good to see. But before we wrap things up, shout out to everybody in the chat. Really love and appreciate you. We are going to have to wrap this up. We do got to get going. We have our family lives to deal with. I have something going on, actually. But before we go, I just want to say thank you for everybody for watching. Again, I announced it earlier. I will be at the home opener. There's going to be a meet and greet. Follow me on social media or DM me if you have any questions about it. I'll be advertising it if you missed those advertisements. But go ahead and Jay in the Base, let everybody know what you have going on in the future.
Hey, absolutely. Appreciate the platform. Appreciate the opportunity to come onto the 49er Minded YouTube channel, man. I'm already looking forward to our next time we link up. And a huge shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to 49er Minded. He just hit 30,000 views, man. So let's get him to 60,000, by the end of this year. Hey, why not? But yeah, I appreciate everyone. come to Jay in the Bay on YouTube. I would appreciate it. I got YouTube, Facebook, IG, Twitter, all under the same names of Jay in the Bay. On my channel, I talk about the same stuff. Of course, we're talking about the Niners. Of course, I do pregame shows, postgame shows, latest news type videos. And this is one of my passions. I love to be around positive people like, 49er Minded and a ton of other 49er content creators. So I appreciate the platform and can't wait until we talk about, I'm sure, Minnesota Vikings week 2.
That's right. So thank you again, Jay in the Bay. It's always a pleasure having you on. Had you on before. Plan on doing it again. And with that said, guys, thank you for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. So keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Peace.
Come on, 49er faithful, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.